Good afternoon, children. This is the third video explanation on the lesson that we started, Microbes in Human Welfare. I would like to inform you that yesterday we have received an announcement from the council about the reduction in syllabus that you will appear next year for, right? So, keeping my subject in mind, I have already posted the revised syllabus on Google window. You are advised to kindly take out a printout and stick to the new syllabus. And of the portion that I have already covered in my previous class, day before yesterday, the blue pencil that I have crossed indicates this portion as deleted. So you don't have to study. Though I have discussed the same, I have given you notes also, children. So that's what I am telling you. Please delete the first topic, microbes in household products. Under this, we discussed curd, yogurt, cheese, sausages, SCP or single cell protein, toddy, etc. This is not mentioned in the current syllabus now as introduced yesterday. Also, in the second topic of industrial production, alcoholic beverages are there, enzymes are there, but antibiotics please remove, they are not mentioned, right? Similarly, points third and fourth, they are as it is. Fifth one, where we talk of microbes as biological biocontrol agents, right? The bioherbicides, this side heading is not there. So what we only have to study is bioinsecticides. So it's an important thing that please keep cutting these into your notes every time when I'm explaining today. So this is what has been removed, everything in curd and cheese. To the next page, children, this whole thing goes cancelled. Turning the page, all these sausages, fermented vegetables, fish, SCP, toddy, cancel everything, and other foods. This still here. Keeping industrial production, the second topic, we have beverages, alcoholic beverages, distilled and non-distilled, right? And under this, everything that we discussed remains as it is. We will not delete that. But this also that I did last time, starting from here, microbes in antibiotic production, please remove everything. You have to cut it. Is that all right, children? So what I have removed today, we have removed the household uses of microbes on these very pages. So in a way it will be good for you. You don't have to learn all these, right? Industrial production we have already started and this is there in your course. But antibiotics we are not going to study. So you will please cancel the same. Alright. Coming next to the third category that I have done last time. That was organic acids, enzymes and bioactive molecules. So acids, they are everything there. You will not cancel anything. But when you come to enzymes, children, only 4 enzymes are kept in your syllabus. Last time, if you remember, I had completed 8 enzymes. So kindly cancel 4. And which ones are being cancelled? Amylases, please remove. Then, amylases you are removing. Then amylase, glucoamylase and glucoisomerase you are removing. Rennet, the third one. And the fourth one is protein modifying enzyme. So these 4 go cancelled. Ultimately what is in your course now is proteases, lipases, pectinases and streptokinase or TPA, they will be there. So only 4 enzymes, children, to learn. Bioactive molecules we had discussed, they will be there and they are important also for this year, cyclosporine A and statins. So I hope you've understood, children. 3 segments that I have deleted and now we'll be starting and restricting only to the things that we have in our syllabus. So please be very regular, children. Make a note every time. Not everything you have to study. So this is an year of uncertainties and a lot has been changed with our syllabus. So please restrict to the new syllabus and attend the classes and write regularly. Today's new topic is the third heading under microbes, it is in sewage treatment. All right, so we're starting with the same. Sewage treatment. The first thing is, what is sewage? All right, sewage means it is the municipal wastewater that is generated in towns, and it contains human and animal excreta, other organic wastes, pathogenic, that means disease causing microbes like bacteria, microfungi, protozoa and microalgae. Right? So this wastewater, we can say, that is generated by the large cities, etc., that's sewage. And now whenever we have to dispose the sewage, the right method is that it should be first treated through a sewage treatment plant before being discharged into the river or a stream. Suppose we do not do the treatment, suppose it is directly dumped into the river bodies, then what will happen? First effect will be on the health. That is, what are the harmful effects of sewage? The first thing, that they will cause a number of waterborne diseases. People who will consume these polluted water bodies, they will be sick. Second, they cause depletion. That means they remove dissolved oxygen in water. So the water, that is aquatic life, will be killed, fishes, etc. Right? Then foul smell. This causes foul smell and an offensive odor which is unbearable. Right? So we have, children, the sewage definition, sewage treatment plant, the harmful effects of sewage, and now we'll talk about the working of sewage treatment plant. That is, there are two stages of working and we have to talk about the same now. That is, one step is the primary treatment and second is the secondary treatments. Let us see in the next thing of how is sewage treated. This is very much, children, in your course, children. So by mistake I had crossed, but no, I have removed it with a whitener. So please copy down everything. Primary treatment of sewage. This is a physical process. Under this, what is done is that the wastewater from cities and towns, right, before being discharged in bodies of water, this is treated. First, number one, it is diluted with water, right? After that, the mixture is shredded or chopped finely and churned, right? It is then passed through screens or what we call as skimmers. By passing through the screens, large floating objects from the sewage, they get removed. And then the filtered sewage is passed into a grit chamber. Into this, what happens? The coarse solid material like sand, small pebbles, etc., they settle down by gravity. All right. Now, it is passed through large primary settling tank with a gentle slope. Gentle slope means this is meant to settle down the grit, sand, heavy particles, etc. Right. After this, what happens? The solid material, that is the screened part, will be called as the primary sludge. Right. This is to be used in any of these three ways. For example, it can be used for preparation of compost or a manure directly, or it can be burnt, or it can be used in formation of biogas. The other substance, after that primary sludge that is removed, the effluent that is left after removing primary sludge contains fine organic matter, and this is sent for further treatment. That is a liquid part that is further sent for treatment, that is secondary. So I hope the primary step is clear, children. Once again, we are going to start with the secondary treatment. Let us revise. Primary treatment of sewage, that is the dirty wastewater from towns and cities. Sewage was diluted, shredded, that is chopped finely, passed through screens or skimmers where the large floating objects were removed. Then it was passed into grit chamber, which had coarse or thicker solid matter like sand, pebbles, and then these settle down by gravity into this chamber. Now further, the large primary tanks, they are used, settling tanks are used, and here the grit, sand, heavy particles, they settle down. Two byproducts we get, that is primary sludge, which is used in variety of ways. It can be used as manure directly, can be burnt, or it can be used in generation or production of biogas. The effluent, that is the liquid wastewater that is left now after removing the primary sludge, is sent for the secondary treatment. Alright. Now, moving to secondary treatment, I'll just show you the sewage treatment plant given in your pictures, page 559. This is an aerial view of the sewage treatment plant that is done on large scales. Alright. Coming to the secondary treatment. Now, the major difference of secondary from the primary is that this is a biological treatment. This was physical, children. Here we had grit chambers, shredders, skimmers, etc., or screening agents, and the large pebbles, etc., were removed. But here you have the action of living organisms. That's why we call it as biological treatment. It can be done by 3 methods, right? Basically, in your books, several methods are employed, but in your textbooks, 3 are mentioned. Oxidation tank method, second, trickling filter, and third is activated sludge method. This we are going to explain now, activated sludge. See, remember children, primary sludge was this, the solid material that was organic matter to be burnt or used, manure, whatever. Activated sludge is a different thing. Now let us see first what is done further. Here, this is a large aeration tank. Aeration, as the name tells, oxygen is constantly present because the substance will be agitated or mixed thoroughly. So what is added, children, here? Primary effluent, that is this effluent that was generated, is added here to the large aeration tank, right? Air is pumped continuously and the mixture is mechanically agitated, right? So this is agitation that is done mechanically and air pumped inside. Activated sludge of previous operation is inoculated. Now this actually from the next step, that is sedimentation, here we have living microbes, right? Like bacteria, protozoa, etc. So the living organism is activated, that means added to it, right? Why we do this? This wastewater should have the living organism present because we want to allow quick growth of aerobic microbes, which include algae, filamentous fungi, bacteria, protozoa, and together they form masses that we call as flocks. All right. So this wastewater we have in short added with some living microbial agents. Why? Because we want them to quickly grow and multiply. Now, these flocks which have been kind of artificially multiplied because we added the inoculum. This is just like setting off a curd. In milk, we add a little amount of bacteria and the whole thing multiplies. Same thing you can imagine. In a wastewater, we have purposely added the inoculum and now they multiply into bodies called as flocks. Now what happens? These flocks or microbes, they start using major part of organic matter in the effluent. That means any waste organic substance, they will start major part of it will be consumed, and this also reduces the BOD, which means biological oxygen demand, right? Now BOD, children, I have written a note here. This is a measure of organic matter present in water. Higher BOD means more pollution potential and lesser BOD means lesser water potential. So here when the BOD is being reduced, that means water will be polluted less. And that's what we want, children. Before being disposed to the rivers, etc., we want the effluent to go less and less in pollution. So these microbial agents, they are acting as a double point of advantage. Not only they are reducing the organic substance by consumption, but they are also reducing the BOD or we can say pollution potential of the water body. The next step is these effluents are now passed through sedimentation tank, from aeration tank now to sedimentation tank, and as the name tells, now they will be made to settle down, right? And this will form activated sludge. These microbial flocks actually now settle, which were now constantly being mixed up. Now they will be settling down, and this we call as activated sludge. All right. So this, what is the fate of this sludge now? Either we send it, a portion of this, to this previous step as inoculum, or a portion of this, major portion we can say, is being sent to the last step where we call anaerobic sludge digester. Anaerobic, that means here the medium will be without oxygen. Unlike the first where it was with oxygen, the last step is anaerobic medium, and this is sludge digester. Sludge will be added from here, as you can see, and here anaerobic microbes digest bacteria. They digest bacteria and fungi in the sludge and produce gases like methane, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide. These can be used as biogas because they are highly inflammable. All right. So these gases, they're produced, and the top of this device, it keeps floating. Why? The roof floats because of the production of gases, and this is the vent for methane to escape. All right. Now, out of this, the gases are produced, they are moving out, but the substance that is left now, the spent sludge, this sludge has now been spent, and this can be used as a manure, right, or a part of compost, and the effluents can be released into the water bodies. So see how good it is that from waste waters we obtained, we can say from the discarded water of our homes or our towns and cities, we generated some very usable things. This methane, which will be combustible and inflammable. Then we obtained the compost or manure here, and the water or the waste water which is released as a purer form into the rivers and other streams, reducing water pollution. So this is all about the sewage treatment. Once again, before we move further, first I started with what is sewage, what should be done before discharging into a water body, what happens about the step if we don't treat it through the treatment plant, that what are the side effects or harmful effects, these are there. And then the treatment, which is very simple in 2 steps. Primary, that is a physical one, right? End product of primary treatment was primary sludge. We used by a variety of ways, and effluents. So these effluents, they pass into the secondary treatment where we have 3 steps to deal: the large aeration tank, sedimentation tank, and anaerobic sludge digester. In your books, it is shown here. This is the anaerobic sludge digester at page number 559. You can clearly see the methane vent, it goes out, the floating roof, this is the sludge inlet, and the spent sludge along with the manure that can be used as manure and effluent water that is sent to the river bodies. So that's all about the primary and secondary treatment, children. Now we move to our 4th point, that is microbes in energy generation. Coming back to our introduction, I'll just show you this 3rd point I have completed, microbes in sewage treatment, and we are moving to our 4th point, microbes in energy production. This is a very interesting thing, children. We are talking about biogas. All right. Energy, when we talk in case of biogas production, we have 3 things to understand, children. First, what is biogas, how it is produced, and what are the advantages. So let us see what is biogas. In layman's slang, we call it as gobar gas also, and this is methane-rich combustible gas. How it is produced? It is produced by anaerobic breakdown. That means without oxygen, there are bacteria which break down or digest biomass. Which bacteria can be used? We have a group of methanogenic, that means methane producing bacteria, or methanogens. There's a scientific term. This bacteria is called as Methanobacterium, and this is the same one which has been found in sewage sludge and the rumen of cattle, right? So this is in cattle used for cellulose digestion also. So this bacteria is going to act on biomass. Now what is biomass, children? These are the living or dead plants or animals which have been recently dead and can be used as a fuel. So all the dried twigs, dead bodies, plants, leaves, etc. can be used as biomass. They can be made to act by the bacterium or methanobacterium, and we get the biogas or gobar gas produced. So this is a gas, children, but naturally we'll have some solid matter also left by the treatment, and this will be called as a residue. So both are usable. This can be used for cooking, etc., whereas the residue can be directly used as manure. Now, what is the composition? This has been mentioned and it's important, children. The composition of biogas, mainly it is methane, 50 to 70%. Then carbon dioxide, 25 to 35%. Nitrogen, some 2 to 7%. Hydrogen, traces. And hydrogen sulfide also in traces. The calorific value or the fuel value is 23 to 28 kilojoules per kilogram. Right? So this is a very good fuel that can be tapped and used very effectively. The next is production of biogas in the biogas plant. What I have drawn here is a large sized biogas plant, right? And remember, children, biogas, or let's see the cow dung, etc., of 5 cattle can produce biogas which is sufficient